Okay.
But there's a rumor that there's this intimidating toothbrush that's been terrorizing people. And so,
Listen, Linda.
Have you been ran out of your
honey,
home?
listen.
Have you been ran out of your home because of an electric toothbrush or something?
I really did think I was praying over my family. I was praying that we would not have a bomb go off in our home. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
No.
I don't even know.
Do you want me to tell you guys what happened?
I'm afraid to hear this.
I'm afraid.
So it was a Monday morning a week ago, and I sleep really hard on Sunday nights because Sunday's a really, really big day for ministry, for worship leading and stuff. And so I was out, and I was awoken from a dead sleep by a terrible noise. And it sounded
Sounds like a Christmas story.
That's what I was thinking.
And what was a clatter?
Listen, it sounded like someone was sawing through my wall, and there was water, like a waterfall. And I called Justin, I put it on speakerphone, and I said, babe, this is not good. Like, something really, really bad has happened. He's like, I'm just now pulling into the plant. And I'm like, it's really bad. And he goes, okay, I'm pulling away from the plant. and he came home, and for 25 minutes, that's how long it takes him. I prayed, and I called him again. I said, do I need to take the kids for safety? I got the dogs out of our room because I thought that my room was going to blow up and we were all going to die. I was really, really scared. And he came home, and
And what was it, Lindsay? What was it?
he opens the shower door, and he said, babe, looks like my toothbrush fell off the ledge and somehow got turned on. Turned the toothbrush off. And we were saved. My hero.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm a little bit shocked. So, can I speak on behalf of the audience?
Please.
Here's what everybody. Y'all feel free to chime in and tell everybody that you're agreeing with me here.
Yes.
So I learned a lot about you already. So here's the question.
Okay.
You know, there are on this planet, when something happens, there are a million possibilities.
Yes.
You went straight to the house is going to blow up.
I went straight to the Lord in prayer.
Well, that was
from my house.
After your house is going to blow up. I mean, why couldn't it have been that there is a mole who is bore into your house?
Listen, when I was like in
How about,
when I was in middle school, our water
It was
heater
an Al
exploded.
Qaeda mole. It was
okay?
going to blow up, okay?
Our water heater exploded when I was in middle school in the bathroom right next to my room. And so I thought, it's happening again, and there's going to be fire
that's
and
at least more realistic
water
than a bomb
everywhere. I thought it
can
was
see
over.
that.
I almost called my neighbors. I was like, do I need to call?
It was over.
Oh, my
Listen.
word.
I just want to know, why was there like a lack of investigation?
I went in
Because I
there.
feel like Justin got there, and within 5 minutes, he was like, yeah, it's a toothbrush.
That's
It was
another
within
great
like 30
question.
seconds.
Yeah.
But I went in the bathroom,
I mean,
and
you're
I
dead
couldn't find
anyway.
the sound.
Why not at least go
walked
see
all
why you're gonna
over.
die?
I don't think due diligence was actually.
No, I'm going to die.
Listen.
That was determined.
I have
at least want
never
to see why I'm gonna die.
proclaimed to have excellent technical skills. I've never
Not
brought.
technical skills.
Nah.
It's opening the shower. Like,
Well, I
I'm
thought
pretty
the
sure a
shower was
3-year-old
going to
could
blow me
turn
up.
that off.
So
Like,
I
don't
did
you know how
not
the door
open the
works?
shower
The
because I
thing
didn't want
about
to die.
this business, guys, is once you have these tools and stuff in place, you can sit in your underwear in your office and have fun and act a fool and make as much as you want, because that's what these tools do.
We are not wearing our underwear, by the way.
Oh, I'm definitely
I'm wearing underwear.
I mean, we're not wearing.
Lindsay, please speak for yourself.
Do
I
not.
decided
We're
to wear
not
it.
wearing just our underwear.
Oh, okay.
That is different.
That's different.
That is a completely different
That's
statement.
completely different stuff.
Those are different words.
Going
Yeah, it's like,
here?
why? I mean, talking about toothbrushes, and then
I'm telling you.
I don't know where she.
What has happened to this program?
She's hijacked it. It used to be a nice Christian show.
Yes, and you know that
Christian-
guy who come up to you and he
Justin,
says,
come
"Hey,
get
can we
Lindsay."
just get through the weird stuff to the business?"
Yeah.
Now we know why.
Now we know what he's talking about. Now we know. You know, it all started with the CBD comment, and
I
ever
just
since
meant we weren't like
then, we.
inappropriate off camera. That's all I meant.
Yes.
Yes. No one's.
Oh, we're definitely inappropriate off the camera too, but that's a whole nother story.
we leave the inappropriateness to when we're on the camera. Any other questions?
Yeah,
The
we
whole
had
thing is, I have not in my heart. Like,
Listen,
How
let's.
defensive she's got in my heart.
She's starting to feel guilty.
no, I'm telling you, I thought that toothbrush was going to set my house on fire.
I'm sending a text message to your pastor and asking him,
Yeah.
please do not listen to this episode.
Episode 394.
It was innocent.
It was innocent.
I really did think that my house was going to explode and I need to protect my children and my dogs. And like, I was trying to figure out a plan for safety.
The whole just the worst comment and ever made, and one that still leaves us all asking, why is there an electric toothbrush in the shower?
Thank you for listening to our show today.
A blog will help you do that. Number 6, a blog will help you tell your story. And I want to tell you, nothing sells better. Nothing you do. There is nothing you can do or say that is going to do better for you than telling your story. Your story has more power and more potential for you to turn a profit, to grow your platform, to be able to widen your footprint, to have more impact, to be able to reach more people in a much more deeper and meaningful way that builds that rapport that you so desperately need and want for your business. Nothing will do that better than telling your story. Everybody's got one. I like what Eric Thomas said one time. He says, I might not have been through what you've been through, but I've been through my go through. And telling people what you've had to go through helps them understand, okay, this is a real person. It encourages them. What is encouraging people? It's literally taking courage and putting it on the inside of them. When I tell my story of how it was just in 2008, I was broke, busted, and disgusted. I was just steps away from being homeless. Our house was being foreclosed on. We were literally days away from get out of the house, a house that we had lived in my whole life. I was raised there, been in my family for years. It was the old family farm. My great-grandparents met at a barn dance on that piece of property. Telling that story and finding myself in a food bank looking for benevolence to feed a family of five children and a wife, actually a family of 7. Telling that story informs people that, hey, I don't know where you're at, but I've had my own thing. I get struggle. And it also lets them understand why I'm so passionate about what I do. Because the very training, the tools, the technology that I use today is how I, just in a short period of just a decade, have gone from the outhouse back to the penthouse. But more than the softwares, the systems.
Why is it that people don't want to grow? Why is it that they just settle for being less than what they are capable of being? Why is it they shy away from doing their stuff and challenging themselves and taking life on and making it an exciting adventure? Why is it? Because living your dream, it's hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard living your dream. We are in charge of our attitudes. And when you're in charge of your attitude, you say, if it's hard, then do it hard. I won't allow this to stop me. I don't have the option of easy. I don't have the option, and I don't think you do, or any of us do, of going around trying to find a dream that's a little dream that doesn't require much responsibility or not too stressful or won't be too much of a hassle. No, no, no. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. An optimist sees an opportunity in every calamity. A pessimist sees a calamity in every opportunity. What can make it okay? Your attitude about it. That you decide that this is not going to determine who I am. Charles Swindoll said about attitude, he said, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact attitude has on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures and successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness, or skill. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude.
If there's anything in life that you don't currently have right now, it's because of who you are and how you think. I know you're strong enough to do it because you're human. And every human has what it takes to get past whatever they're going through if they decide to. Push through it. Push through it. Tragedy and trials come to everybody. Only the strong survive. Y'all running from pain. Y'all running from challenges. You telling me how difficult your life is. Do you understand it is the difficulty that's going to prepare you and take you to that next level? I'm here just like you here, and I promise you, I ain't leaving without the degree. I will not leave without that goal. I will not leave without that dream. I will not leave this university until I'm successful. I will not leave this job. I will not leave this client. I will not leave this opportunity until I get it.
You're listening to TW3 Radio, inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music for the entrepreneur and small business owner. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music. You're listening to TW3 Radio.
Could a man hit a target he could not see? That's a pretty good question. Here's another one. How can you hit a target you do not have? Besides, planes are built for flying. Ships are built for sailing. Houses are built for living. And man, too, was built for purpose. He was designed for accomplishment. He's engineered for success. He's endowed with the seeds of greatness. And the greatest danger we as human beings have is when we do not do anything at all. People today complain of lack of time. It's not lack of time that's the problem. It's the lack of direction. Are you a wandering generality? Or are you a meaningful, specific? Are you going to work tomorrow because that's what you did yesterday? If that's the reason you're going tomorrow, you won't be as good tomorrow as you were yesterday because you're 2 days older and no closer to the goal you do not have. What about you personally? Have you got your goals laid out? Are you a meaningful, specific, or are you a wandering generality?
See, you are part of an equation, and you are needed. Part of why we should begin to look at how we give up our lives, that we've got to begin to see, what is it that I'm supposed to do? What is my life work? And then give ourselves to that. Because as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, as you begin to take on this new era that we're in, if you decide that I'm going to begin to start living life, I'm going to start giving more of myself, I'm going to start putting out more, contributing more to life, here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you that life will take on a whole new meaning for you. I guarantee you that life takes on a whole new dimension, that you'll be happier, you have a greater sense of happiness and fulfillment in life, that now you will begin to take off on some new paths to some newer horizons, that you'll begin to see life totally different than most people.
You got to have those long-range goals. And the rule is a simple one. You go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you'll always be able to see further. Are you a wandering generality? Or are you a meaningful specific?
And most of us go through life because we're not using that which we've been given, that we are punished, that we're going through life getting up in the morning with no reason to get up. There's a scripture, when I heard it, I couldn't understand it. I say, how cold? He that hath shall get, and he that hath not, even that he has shall be taken away. He that hath a generous view of life, he that has courage, he that hath initiative, he that hath resourcefulness.
I say it with all of my heart. I know in my mind that man was designed for accomplishment, that he's engineered for success, that he is endowed with the seeds of greatness.
You're listening to TW3 Radio, inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
Welcome to TerryWilson3.com, home of TW3, the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Terry Wilson.
Thank you, Keith. This is Terry Wilson, and you are listening to TerryWilson3.com. Tonight, this is episode 454, and we're talking about setting your income and business on fire. And we've got a specialist, an arsonist, that's going to be with us talking to us about setting our business on fire. So welcome to episode 454. You're going to find out tonight how to have greater income, influence, and impact with your business as we put it on fire. We have one of the biggest arsonists in the entrepreneurial space in the TW3 studio with us tonight that is going to be carpet bombing us with value. His name, John Lee Dumas. So, but wait, Reagan, there's more. We also have TW3's own elite trainer and coach. You know her as Miss Spelling Bee. I know her as Laurie Brown. We have the lovely Miss Laurie Brown. Laurie, how are you doing?
I'm great, Terry. Thanks for having me tonight.
Well, thank you for being with us. You can always check out Miss Spelling Bee over at tw3radio.com every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Make sure you check her out. She's going to show you how to look up and see more, because you do become what you behold. So she's going to be on with us tonight and dropping some value bombs on how you can take your money, business, and life to new levels as you see the opportunities around you and see things in a better light. Tonight, I am going to be offering a special JLD. That is, John Lee Dumas has a new book out, and he is offering a special tonight, and I'm actually sweetening up the deal. Is that a word? Sweetening up, or is it sweeten up? Sweeten.
I could be wrong, though.
I don't know. I always drop the G.
We have Miss Spelling Bee on.
Yeah, Miss Spelling Bee. How is it sweetening up the deal or sweetening?
I think it should be sweetening up.
That's the N I missed. Sweetening up. Easy for you to say. Well, I'm trying to make the offer better. Let me just. He's got a special that he's offering to get his new book that's out, and I want to throw something in, and that's going to be a one-time offer tonight as well. So be paying attention to that. We're going to. He's got an audio journal, or excuse me, a planning journal and some other things along with this book for the same price as just the book. And I think the book's only like $25. I mean, it's
not bad.
Not bad at all. And we're going to throw in You Are Worth More's audio version.
Nice.
The first two chapters of that as well. Just to sweeten up the I can't say it. Good Lord. And
oxen.
Whatever. Anyway, but
words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard. Easy for you to say. Anyway, we're going to offer you a special deal tonight at tw3radio.com. You can go there and click on the link. You can also go to terrywilson3.com/EOF as Entrepreneur on Fire for that deal as well.
Cool. As always, well, not as always, but tonight we're going to be taking your questions. I guess some nights we don't take your questions, but tonight we're going to be taking your questions in segment 4. So if you have some, go ahead and start sending those in. We have a lot of members on that are gracious enough to kind of help us, and they'll start answering some of your questions through the chat. But whatever they miss, we typically go back through and we'll answer those for you. The only thing we do ask, if you're going to ask questions, we just ask you to keep it clean, positive, and relevant. And if none of those things, we want you to make it funny. But in today's episode, it's funny with 3 N's. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you notice, I didn't give Miss Spelling Bee the notes.
Yeah, I wonder why.
This is a special message to all of the elite members tonight and other TW3 members. There will not be a mastermind this week nor podcast next Monday night due to the fact my oldest brother somehow convinced someone to marry him. I can't believe it either, but somehow he found a nice young lady to marry.
We're all shocked by that.
Yeah, we are. That's a surprise.
How did that happen?
Before me.
Before you too as well.
It's disappointing.
It's weird.
And I don't know.
How did this happen?
It's whatever, it happens.
She had this new dress that she's wearing for the reception, or not reception, the rehearsal.
Alicia or River?
River.
Oh, okay.
But Alicia,
But she was wearing it, and River walked by, and he was like, "That's pretty nice. Is she single?" I was like, "I think so."
Fun fact: she actually went for me first.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Right.
And then she went for Reagan.
Somewhere like that.
Izzy wasn't available either, and so I get it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Last on the poll.
What do you think, Laurie? Brotherly love. What can you say?
Absolutely.
So, Laurie, I hear you've just had nothing but warm weather out there in San Antonio, and nothing eventful that's been happening. Is that the case?
Well, today it's a balmy 75 degrees, believe it or not.
Wow.
Last week it was a weather disaster.
Yeah, I heard you came home and you baptized your entire house. What was that about?
Well, half of it.
Wow.
Half the house flooded, and it's a wreck, and they're going to be tearing up wood floors and carpet. And
So you're saying the state of Texas and some of the piping out there is just not used to this kind of cold weather?
well, they don't construct houses the way they do like in Wisconsin or Idaho or
Just
whatever.
Not prepared for this subarctic weather. Good.
No, not at all.
Oh my word. Well, I'm glad you're dry now, and I'm glad that you're okay, and you've got electricity, obviously, because we're talking and you're back on the camera, so that's good.
I do have electricity, but had another pipe burst, and so the water's turned off again, so I don't have water. But
Oh, you're kidding. Bless your heart.
That's awful.
That is awful. Well, we're praying for Texas. I tell you what, I know you guys have just been through it this last couple of weeks. Just terrible.
yeah, but there's a breed of what we call Texan perseverance. So
Yeah,
Texas will get through it.
You guys don't seem to quit over anything. It seems like there's a...
Remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo. I was about to say, especially out there in San Antonio, you guys just don't know how to quit. It's not in your blood. So
That's right.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, tonight we got Reagan and River. I honestly can't believe we put this much value again in one show.
It's pretty impressive.
We got Miss Spelling Bee dropping value bombs on the people. Corporate trainer from the corporate world has been around and helping people, and now she's agreed to come and help us tonight. And then right after her, we've got John coming in and is just going to be dropping value left and right on us as well in his entrepreneur journey. So we've got a lot of great stuff tonight, guys. I think you're going to really enjoy tonight's show. Miss Spelling Bee is cocked, locked, and ready to rock. She's dried off, and she's powered up, and she's ready to rock and roll. And she's going to be coming in right after this segment here to talk to you about how you can take control of your career simply by looking and seeing what the opportunities are around you and seizing them. So we're glad to have her tonight, and I'm glad that she's agreed to that time with you to offer that with you. So when we get back right after this, you'll be hearing from Miss Spelling Bee when we get back right after this.
Chapter 1. The 4 words that changed everything. Another day, another dollar. I just clocked in and was super excited. I finally felt like an adult. For the first time in my life, I was working for someone that wasn't a family member.
Hi, I'm Haven, and Terry Wilson's my dad. And the reason why I think I like this is it teaches me not only to earn money and work when I get older, how to earn it. It also teaches me how my dad used to live in the past, what he did, what was his first job, the reason why he came into this podcast sphere. So that's why I think I like his podcast and this audiobook.
Get the audio version of You Are Worth More at coachwithtw3.com. That's coachwithtw3.com. Get the first 2 chapters for free.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
He figured out his buttons. I'm actually impressed. He didn't turn on his mic, but that's okay.
You're silencing me. What I was gonna say was that's crazy that I remembered.
He figured out his buttons. He pressed like 5 buttons right there.
And these are brand new too. You wouldn't imagine that you'd figure out how to.
I'm impressed.
Remember.
Well, we're back, and as a testament to Texas perseverance, on top of everything Laurie's going through, she's been kind enough to, grace us with her presence and put up with us, and she's offering some of her, her wisdom and her expertise. So we've got a training with her, and let's get right into that.
Hey everybody, this is Laurie Brown, aka Miss Spelling Bee. I'd like to thank Terry tonight for this opportunity. I'd like to thank our members for listening and for their continued support of TW3. I'd like to thank our guest tonight for showing interest in setting aside some of your time to listen. I'd like to thank Mr. Wonderful for always being encouraging. And I hope I'm a good steward of your time and attention for the next 10 minutes or so. So this is a business show after all, so let's talk about business. There's lots of different businesses represented here tonight, and they all have different needs. They all have different problems, different attitudes, different skill sets, different motivations. I could go on and on. If you're in real estate, you got to have houses to sell. If you're a restaurateur, you got to have food to sell. If you're in insurance, you got to have protection to sell. If you're in the auto business, you got to have cars to sell. But there's one thing that every business has in common. We all need customers. Need customers to buy those houses, to buy that food, to buy that insurance policy, to buy that car. And that's what TW3's mission is all about, really. It provides virtually unlimited access to potential customers, and it gives you the tools, training, and technology to reach those potential customers and react. Sounds easy, right? You just sit down at your desk, turn on your computer, punch some buttons, and you'll be an instant success, right? Actually, nope. I'll get that out of your mind right now. The truth is, there's lots of ways for a business to fail. Logistics, funding, quality control, failure to adapt to changes, cost to profit ratios, tax structure, yada, yada, yada. Every business is different, with one exception. Every business needs customers. Remember that movie Field of Dreams? What was the takeaway line in that movie? Before I say it, you say it. If you build it, they will come. So first you have to build it, and that requires effort. It requires know-how, or at least a willingness to learn. You have to be able to overcome mistakes, and you have to have perseverance. And honestly, it takes a fair amount of luck too. But more than anything, it takes vision. So what are you looking at? What's your vision? Are you looking down at your feet? Are you focused on where you're standing right now? Or are you looking out towards the horizon? That word, horizon, that's an emotional word. It represents all the things we hope for our business that are just beyond our vision. We might know that what we want is out there, but maybe we're too busy in our immediate problems, too busy looking down at our feet to see what's out there in the horizon. But you've got brains in your head and feet in your shoes, but worried about the bang-ups and hang-ups that happen to you. I didn't write that. I got that from Dr. Seuss, but that's a whole nother episode. So let me tell you about a story about this guy named Abe. that holds a lot of truth for me. Abe had a business partner, and his name was Lot. And Abe and Lot were at this place called Bethel, between the Mount of Blessing and the Mount of Cursing. Bethel was located in modern-day Israel, near what would eventually become Jerusalem. Now, Abe's herdsmen and Lot's herdsmen began to quarrel amongst themselves because there wasn't enough grass for both their herds. Now, Abe didn't want any conflict, so he told Lot that they should separate and that he would let Lot pick which way he wanted to go first, and then Abe would go in the other direction. So Lot looked east at the plains of Jordan, which was well-watered, fertile, green land everywhere, and he made his choice. He was going east. Little side note here, that was over there by Sodom and Gomorrah, but that's a whole other episode. So here's Abe, just standing there, probably looking down at his feet. And the Lord says to Abe, "Now lift up your eyes. Look as far as you can see in every direction, north, south, east, and west. I'm giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants." Now, when Abe lifted his eyes, you know what he saw? He saw rock, just rock, and a desert. And it was all just stony ground. And he had just given Lot the best part. "Look up now from the place where you are." A command from God followed by a promise. Look up now from the place where you are. Focus on the word now and the phrase where you are. And notice the response that's required. Mental agreement to an idea, an emotional response to claim what the mind has already agreed to, and a willing attachment of the body in action to that which the mind has agreed and the heart its response. You know what? All of that adds up to faith. Faith is often translated as believe in the Bible, but it's not quite the right translation. I can believe that the sky is green. I can believe that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl next year, but what I believe doesn't make it true. It really comes down to the ABCs of faith. That's what I like to call it, the ABCs of faith. Faith is an action based on a belief, sustained by confidence. It's kind of like when you get up in the morning, you swing your legs out of the bed, you put your feet on the floor, and you stand up. Do you peek over the edge of your bed to see if the floor is still there? No? Why not? Because it's always been there, right? So you took an action, you swung your legs out of the bed, put your feet on the floor that you knew was there because it's always been there before. So you were confident that it was going to be there. Now, back to Abe. Does Abe respond to God? Well, praise the Lord. I'll just sit here while he gives it to me. God did not just say he'd give it. He commanded Abe to do something. He said, rise, walk through the land in every direction because I'm giving it to you. Now, did he say take a camel ride, call an Uber? I mean, really, you'd think if God was going to give Abe a promise like that, you'd think he'd send an angel to fly him around for a quick bird's eye view of the whole land, right? But God said, walk. And it would have been a very, very rough walk. Abe received the promise in a circumstance where everything he saw defied the promise. It's a promise which says, look up and see that which I'm promising in the midst of and in defiance of what you see. Look up from the place where you are. Don't ask me to change the place and make it appear more hopeful. Just look up and get walking. Act as though you believe what I've told you is true. Now, what about you? What place are you in today? Look up now and start walking. Have you ever started a business and found it to be sort of rocky ground? Well, then you're in good company, just like Abe. You know, we've all heard stories about people who've given up on their businesses or failed to adjust to changing times, like AOL, Atari, Kodak, Edsel, DeLorean, Blockbuster, and my favorite, the Yellow Pages. We've also heard about businesses that eventually saw success, like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Now, they're practically trillion-dollar companies today, but they've been around 25, 30 years. They didn't start out as big companies like they are today. And you've also heard about businesses who appear to be failing, were failing when they first started, but they refused to give up. Guys like Henry Ford, Hershey, the Domino Pizza guys, and Thomas Edison. So what's your vision? Look up and get walking.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
This is impressive. I'm being blown away right now. I don't think people can really grasp how impressed we are right now, but
still can't remember how to unmute my mic.
That's on purpose. That wasn't a mistake. He did that one on purpose. He just want to tell you.
This sounds like something from Mario.
Oh yeah, it's like Sunshine Road.
Yeah.
I like it. This is nice.
Yeah, this is nice.
Good job,
fresh. I'd say it's fresh.
Good job. Yeah. Proud of you. So anyway, John Lee Dumas has joined us here in the studio to talk to you for some reason. We're not sure why, but he's here, and he's going to be doing a training, and I'm super excited for it personally, but still trying to figure out why he's on here, because, you know, sometimes you just got to know where you're at in life, and you're like, why are you talking to me? You can be doing anything. So it's pretty awesome. Let's get into it.
TW3 family, we are started this month off. We're calling the month of love at the beginning with my good buddy Cliff Ravenscraft, the mindset answer man on how to get our thinking right. We then moseyed on over to Chi-Town and talked to the Hall of Fame rock and roll drummer Tristan Bowden of the group Chicago on how he fought back from cancer and is still rocking rolling today. We then went over to New York City. The town's so nice they named it twice. And we talked to my good buddy, the assistant district attorney up there, Neil O'Reilly, on how he has been able to persuade courtrooms, colleagues, and community to clean up New York City. And well, tonight, batting cleanup. I am just enthused about this. I can't begin to tell you. We've got someone that's coming in to carpet bomb any discouragement, doubt, or disillusionment you have on being an entrepreneur and taking your money, business, life to all new levels. The entrepreneur on fire, John Lee Dumas. John, how are you doing?
Well, after that introduction, I am fired up, brother. Value bombs will be dropped. That is a promise. And, you know, when I get to follow somebody from the band Chicago, which is just absolute legends, my day is complete.
Dude, well, you're the rock star in this band. I'm going to tell you that right now. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Before we get started taking questions, and because I got a couple here for you. Number one, I want to say two things and thank you. Number one, thank you for fighting for our freedom as a soldier. And number two, thank you for exercising that freedom as an entrepreneur. Because there's one thing to have freedom, there's another thing to exercise it. And you are you're trailing a path for us, trailblazing a path for us to look at. And I've been following you sometimes from a distance. And anytime I get the big heads, hey, I've done something this week. I knocked 50, 60K down this month. I'm doing all right. And then I go over to Entrepreneur on Fire, and I see for 90 weeks. Is that right?
90 months in a row.
90 months, excuse me. Yeah.
We've published an income report with a minimum net profit of 100K, oftentimes much more, but minimum for 90 months running.
Dude, you are on fire.
Oh, can I also add that I live in Puerto Rico, so I get to keep all of that money that I make? Can I add that in?
Now you're just going to rub it in. Folks, not only is he keeping a lot of the money, he's down there, he's warm. He's enjoying the beach. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, let's get right into it. Number one, how have people been lied to by the faux gurus, the experts out there online in the business world, do you think, John?
Listen, there's a lot of great experts out there. There's a lot of people who are doing amazing things in this world, and there's some that aren't. And there are some people that are out there lying to you right now. And what they're saying when they're lying, it's some form of the path to success is hidden, it's secret, it's complicated. And they want you to think that, because if you do, you'll know that you need the key to success from them, which will only cost you $1,997.97. And like, we've all seen it before. And listen, we've all got to make a living. We've all got to do what we do. We should all be getting value back coming at us, for value we're putting out there into the world. And I got nothing, no problem making money. I mean, as we just talked about, I've been publishing personal income reports for 90 months in a row, ever since 2013, 90. I bring my lawyer on for a legal tip. I bring my accountant on for a tax tip, and we go deep into my numbers. And it's very important to know your numbers, to have a finger on the pulse. But getting back to the whole points, listen, the path to success and the path to what I like to call your version of uncommon success, it's not complicated. It is not hidden. It is not secret. It is a very common path to get to your version of uncommon success. And I don't say that just because of my path. I say that because I've interviewed now, Terry, 3,000 of the world's most successful entrepreneurs over the past decade. I've been the mentee being mentored in every single one of those conversations. I have learned, I have digested, I have downloaded all of their genius into my head. And now I've put it into a step-by-step process that is that common path to uncommon success. And it's not going to cost you $1,997.97. It's a book. It's a book that I wrote that is literally, truly my gift to the world. And so I want to be very clear before I hand the mic back over to you, Terry. It's hard. It is hard work to achieve uncommon success. But you know what else is hard, Terry? Being broke.
You better believe that.
Living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to support your loved ones, not being able to support yourself, not being able to get up in the morning and do something that you want to do, but doing something you have to do. That's hard too. So Terry, my call to action for everybody here is choose your hard. Like back in 2012, it was hard. I spent 32 years of my life doing hard work and making the wrong decision on choosing my hard. I was going down the wrong path. I wasn't having any success. But then I flipped it. I said, you know what? Building this business, Entrepreneurs on Fire, it's going to be hard work. But the alternative is hard too. So I choose the hard of building a life of freedom, of building a life of choice, of building a life of uncommon success. And that's my call to action to everybody hearing our voices today. Choose your hard.
Choose your heart. Boy, I love that. Because there's a high cost of low living. And sometimes we think that, we're just going to get out of this easy by taking the path of least resistance. And boy, sometimes the end of that path is just a tiger. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. So I got into your site the other day and I saw some of the prelude to what's coming out. And I'm telling you, John, just in the first few paragraphs, you punch them in the face with what they need to know. It took me 4 chapters to get to what you did in 1 paragraph. I love it, man, in my book. And so, guys, you've got to get over there. You got to get this book because I'm telling you, you're just going to, it's going to light you up. In that book, I know you give out some steps, a roadmap. I think it's 17 steps. Can you just tease us a little bit, if you don't mind, with the TW3 family? Give them a little show of what you got.
Listen, I'm not trying to hide anything. To me, this is what I'm trying to do is literally gift this 17-step roadmap to anybody who's willing to make the investment. And I'm not talking a financial investment. This book's $16 on Kindle. It's $25 on hardcover. I'm not talking a financial investment. I'm saying I'm giving this gift to those people who are willing to invest their time. Because guess what? This 17-step roadmap that we're talking about right here, this is hard. This is a process. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it and nobody would have success. It's the 1% that rise to the top that are willing to put in the work that reap the exponential returns. So are you willing to put in the hard work? And again, you need to choose your hard. So this 17-step roadmap, it is a step-by-step roadmap. It is chronological. You start at step 1 and you go to step 17. I don't care if you think you're on chapter 11/step 11. I don't care if you think you're on chapter 14/step 14. No, you go back and you start at chapter 1 and you're going to do 3 things as you go through these chapters. You're either number 1, going to say, okay, great. I validated that I did this step right. That's awesome. Or step 2, you're going to be like, okay, I really need to make some tweaks, some adjustments, some pivots because I have some issues here in this specific step. Or number 3, whoa, thank God I read this because I need to just wipe the slate clean and start over scratch on this specific step because man, I did it wrong. And guess what? I've done all of these things wrong. That's why I can speak so confidently and with such expertise on every single one of these steps because I've done them all a million times wrong. Now I'm doing them right because again, I've learned from not me, the 3,000 plus people that I've interviewed that are all successful entrepreneurs that have achieved their version of uncommon success. I mean, Terry, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of conversations of me learning. I've distilled it down into one book, into 71,000 words, into 273 pages for you, a very clear, a very concise roadmap that you can follow. And let's just start with a couple at step 1. Identify your big idea. Terry, it is a crime, but it's true. Most people are going to die never even knowing what their big idea is. Just because they never sat down to think about it. They're so busy. They're just going from one thing to another. There's a fantastic book. And believe me, I think you should go read this book too. It's that good. It's called The 5 Biggest Regrets of the Dying. And it was written by a hospice nurse who spent 20 years spending time with people in the last couple of days of their life. And what was one of their 5 biggest regrets? That they lived a life based on other people's expectations and opinions. Like, do you want to do that for the rest of your life? Like today is a day you can stop doing that and go forward. Like I went to law school for a semester. I spent $20,000 for those 6 months. A lot of people would have condemned themselves to a life of being a miserable lawyer, but I ripped myself out of that. And I said, no, today's a new day. This is not for me. I'm going forward in the right direction now. And that was the best decision I made now 15 years ago. I mean, thank God I made that decision or I'd be some middling, miserable lawyer somewhere doing something, not helping anybody because I wasn't living in my zone of fire. I never sat down to identify my big idea if I went down that path. And that's what chapter 1 will do for you. It will, for the first time in your life, help you identify your big idea, not be a weak, pale imitation of somebody else's big idea, which most people do. They're like, oh, look at what Terry's doing. He's so successful. Look what John's doing. I'll just copy them. And then you wonder why you fail because you're a weak, pale imitation of those people and you will never win as a result. You need to come up with your big idea, your zone of fire, and wake up every day on fire, living that life. That is the life that you deserve. Because what at the end of the day do we really want? Freedom. The ability to wake up and do what we want, where we want to do it, with whom we want to do it with. If you have those 3 things, what more is there in life? And you can give yourself that gift. Just take it. Step 1, I teach you how to do that. And Terry, we can go through as many more steps as you want, brother. I want to hand the mic back over to you to respect you as the host.
No, brother, I'm telling you.
I get pretty fired up.
I love it. I love it. Dude, I can sit here and listen to you all day. Well, I do on my treadmill. I just pop you in.
Good for you, man. I love that. Way to work out.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, I've heard the most you'll ever pay is attention to the wrong advice. That's the most you'll ever pay in life. And guys, what you're hearing tonight through John Lee Dumas at Entrepreneur on Fire, eofire.com, is the launch of his new book, uncommonsuccessbook.com is where you can get it. And I'm telling you, you know, we live in the information age, but wisdom sometimes is harder to find. And what he's done is he's taken all of this information he's been able to gather through over a decade of interviewing some of the top performers in every industry, and he's distilled it down to 17 steps. And he just gave us step number 1, which is identifying why are you here? You know, I like to say it this way: you're not a cosmic accident. You didn't show up on planet Earth because lightning struck a mud puddle billions of years later and you crawled out. You're a significant person with a significant reason for being here. There's a reason for you to be here. And once you identify that big idea, as John just said it, life becomes, oh my gosh, it becomes unimaginable. Give us another. Go ahead.
Just on that point real quick. I mean, I think it's so key for people to understand this, like what Terry is just sharing. There is so much wisdom out there in this world, but there's also so much noise and it's chaotic. Yeah. And sometimes it's so hard to really cut through all of this and to really get to the meat and potatoes, to really get down to what matters. And that's why I wrote this book, because listen, I get hundreds of emails every single day with essentially the same 10 questions. I'm not going to go through those 10 questions, but they're essentially the exact identical same 10 questions. I can put them into 10 different categories, almost every single email that I get. And I can't answer all those hundreds individually every single day. I can't do it. But what I can do is write the one definitive guide, the common path to uncommon success. This is a 17-step roadmap that will guide you to financial freedom and fulfillment. If that's what you want, this book, this roadmap will get you there. I spent 480 hours writing this book so that I can now spend the rest of my life replying in one sentence, which is, buy this book. Not because I want to become rich. I'm already rich. Like, I'm making $1 per book. Like, I went with a traditional publisher. I'm getting this message out to the world. That's why I'm saying buy this book. Because if you're willing to invest in yourself, because people who pay will actually pay attention. Now you invest in yourself, that next level that I talked about, and you actually invest the time. That's the process. That's how you go through this 17-step roadmap. So Terry, I did catch what your next question was going to be, which was, hey, like, what is like the next step after that process? And listen, once you come up with your big idea, which is step 1, that's where everybody fails. Because guess what? You now have your big idea. You're excited and you go into it all full steam ahead. That's only step 1 of the 17-step process. You're still missing 16 steps. Guess what? Your big idea, it's a freaking good idea. I promise you, it is a good idea. Maybe it's a great idea. And that means other people are doing it, which is also fine because that's proof of concept. But you're going to lose against entrenched competition within your big idea if you start there. Like a little lamb, you will be slaughtered. So don't start with just your big idea. You need to do step 2 now in the process, which is discover your niche. What does that mean exactly? That means within your big idea, there's a void in the marketplace. There is an underserved market that you need to fit. There's a void that you need to fill that is not being filled. You can niche down, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, niche down till it hurts, until you can look around and say, I am the best solution to this specific problem within my big idea. That's where you get initial momentum, initial traction. That's how you first start getting your mojo going. And then you can build and grow and expand around that concept, around that momentum, around that traction. Like Terry, back in 2012, my big idea was a podcast. That's a big idea. Right. Then I niched down to a business podcast. Whoa, I would have got slaughtered in that category. I niched down again into an interview business podcast. There were still like 7 of them. They were all better than I was going to be because I'd never done it before. I would have gotten destroyed. But what did I do? I niched down one more time. And I said, what if I 10x'd the quantity of my next closest competitor? What if I did 30 episodes per month instead of 4? What if I just absolutely crushed it on the quantity side of things for that segment of people that wanted to wake up every single morning and have a daily podcast of an interview with a successful entrepreneur awaiting them? What if I served that market better than anybody else? And guess what? There was no competition there. Nobody was doing it. So the day I launched Entrepreneurs on Fire, it was the best daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. Terry, it was the worst daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. It was the only daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. That's why I won at such a high level. Wow. How can you initially be the only? That's how you win.
I love it. I love it. And something that the audience might not know, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I know my audience probably doesn't, is I know some of the people that you were consulting at that time about podcasting. And one of the pieces of advice was, you probably don't want to do but one podcast a week. So where did you get the fortitude and the forethought to say, no, I'm gonna push past that? I know that's the advice, and coming from someone credible, but nah, I'm gonna do it this way. So speak to that a little bit.
Listen, I was an officer in the U.S. Army for 8 years.
Yeah.
I spent 13 months in Iraq as a tank platoon leader. The reason why the United States Army is the best army in the world is because its officers are trained to think on their feet, to form opinions on the move. The reason why our enemies wilt and fail at us is because they have such a rigid chain of commands. When something happens that's out of the ordinary, that is against the norm, and by the way, when the bullets start flying, that always happens. They're frozen. They can't make a decision because they were never trained to be able to make decisions on their own, have the confidence to make a decision outside of an actual command. Yet officers in the U.S. Army, we do. And that's why we win every single time. And that's what I took to the entrepreneurship world, brother. I said, you know what?
I love it.
The best people in the space, because I hired them, my mentor, my mastermind leader, Cliff Ravenscraft, the podcasting instrument, Jamie Master, the eventual millionaire. I hired them. I paid them a lot of money to teach me and to coach me. And I learned amazing things from them across the board. 99% of the things I implemented. But they both said adamantly, do not launch a daily podcast. And I said, I love the fact that they are telling me not to launch a daily podcast. Because if the top people in my industry are saying it can't be done, and I figure out a way to do it, wow, what an opportunity that is. And this goes to the thing I want to kind of end on here before I pass it back to you, Terry, is you've got to remember these words because they are so true. The higher the barrier, the lower the competition. I set the barrier so flippin' high with a daily podcast. I didn't just have low competition. I had no competition. I built a moat around my podcast, around my business. And that's why I won. That's why I became the first mover advantage and I stayed in front. And those people, by the way, that don't adhere to that, don't adhere to the high barrier makes low competition. What do? Well, they have a low barrier and maybe they have success, by the way. But what happens? The masses are like, oh my God, look at what that person is doing to have success. The floodgates open, everybody piles in and everybody loses. Because when you create something that's easily replicated, it will be replicated and you'll lose. Not because you're not good or not because you weren't first, but because now it's just such a loud place. But I was the only daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs for years and years and years and years because my barrier was so high. So you need to think about that in your business.
Love it, love it, love it. Once again, JLD is saying, pick your hard. And he decided he'll just go to the top where no one's at. So I love that. Well, John, how can folks get in and get the book? And I know you've got some special offers if they move quick. So speak to that a little bit for my audience.
So listen, I'm making this an absolute no-brainer. Such a no-brainer. And to prove that, again, this is the furthest thing from a financial play for me, I'm literally losing money on every single pre-order. Now, how am I doing that? Well, every single person that pre-orders in the United States, I am shipping them on my expense, my Freedom, Mastery, and Podcast Journal. All three are being shipped to your doorstep. The Freedom Journal, accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. The Mastery Journal, master productivity, discipline, and focus in 100 days. The Podcast Journal, create and launch your podcast in 50 days. I'm gifting all of them to you in the physical form. I'm shipping them to your door. That is my gift to you. If you're outside the US, I still love you. I can't ship it to you, unfortunately, because it costs over $45 to do so. But I am going to email you immediate access to our beautiful digital packs of all three journals. That's just one of the 5 bonuses that you get for pre-ordering a $17 Kindle or a $25 hardcover. That's my gift to you. Now, if you visit uncommonsuccessbook.com, you'll get to see a few things. Number one, a video of me jumping in the pool with all my clothes on. That's all that I'll say. Except the fact that I also explain the entire book to you. Number two, you're going to get access to all the endorsements I've gotten from Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin, Neil Patel, Erica Mandy, Dory Clark. You're going to see all 5 of the bonuses listed out there. You'll see the first chapter of the book, which I gift to you on this page, and a lot of other awesome stuff. uncommonsuccessbook.com. So get your pre-order in before March 23rd. Get all of these bonuses and be prepared to be the first wave of people. they get this book coming to your doorstep as soon as possible. The Common Path to Uncommon Success, a 17-step roadmap to your financial freedom and fulfillment.
Love it, love it, love it. And TW3 family, if you want to get that and you hear about that on this podcast, here's what we're going to do, just because we want this in everybody's hands that we can come in contact with. I'm going to throw in the first 4 chapters of the new audio book that I've just come out with on top of that, just to get this book. So if you want to get John's new material, I'm telling you, it's worth the time and effort you're going to put into yourself to become a better version of you, so you can take your money, business, and life. All you have to do is go to terrywilson3.com/EOF, and you will get the audio version, first 4 chapters of my book, on top of everything that he's offering, just because we want this out there in front of you. Because, like I said, the most expensive thing you'll ever pay is for bad advice. So let's go ahead and cut the cost of doing business in life and get you in front of some good stuff with good people. You have been listening to The Entrepreneur on Fire, JLD. John, thank you so much for being on with us tonight.
Terry, you're the man. It was a pleasure. Everybody else, prepare to ignite.
I love it.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
I'm getting like Lion King vibes. I don't know about you sometimes.
A little bit,
but it's good. It's like good Lion King. It's like, you know.
It's like if
I'm getting John Travolta vibes off of that.
Yeah. Just a little bit of Toto, you know, like bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum.
More Bee Gees than Toto to me.
Yeah. It's good though. That's a good job.
Need Barry Gibb to come in here.
River can do that part.
Yeah.
All right. So we're now in segment 4.
Yeah.
This is where we do our questions here.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Time flies.
Time flies. I tell you, when you have all of this great training.
Yeah.
I mean, can you believe what Miss Spelling Bee just said?
We
in
are
segment 2. I'm telling you.
After every episode, I'm reminded of how vastly out of our league we are.
I don't even understand why they let us on our show with them.
It doesn't make sense.
It don't make sense.
They could easily take us over. There's a level of intelligence they have over us that they could really use to their advantage.
Don't tell them, though.
All right. So we have a few questions here that came from email. I want to get into these first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So first question. I'd love to work from home and earn my income on my own work schedule. However, I'm scared to death of computers. Is this something I can do?
Yeah. I mean, we are an online business. All of our tools are online tools. However, there's a way of doing this to where, you know, I'm reminded of Joe down in Atlanta. You know, older gentleman doesn't use computers a lot, but he hired us to set up his funnel, do this, do that. And then he would just have traffic driven to him. And all he was doing was talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. And then when the people came on, he would outsource the training to someone else. Yep. And he would do a commission split and say, okay, can you help him with the technical stuff? Yep. And that's how he managed his business. And Laurie, it worked. I mean, there's ways of, you know, as they say in the South, you know, skinning a cat. There's more than one way, isn't there? What do you tell your clients, Laurie, when you're talking to them and say, hey, I'd love to start some sort of home-based business. I'm hearing all this TW3 stuff, but I'm a little bit intimidated by the technology. What would be your advice on some of that, Laurie?
Well, I think that, you know, you have to at least know how to send an email. You have to know a little bit about a computer, but, you know, you can make it as complex or simple based on what your skill set is.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is that with TW3, you're also going to have a coach, trainer, and mentor that is going to help you along in that process. Now, we don't teach you computer skills per se, but we're going to help you develop those skills. And frankly, you know, you can do some work and training and learning on your own as well. It just depends on, you know, how committed you are to doing it. But you don't have to know a whole lot about the computer to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you said. You got to be able to respond to an email. I mean, there are some basic, you know, because at the end of the day, we got to be able to communicate. But if some of the other stuff is intimidating to you, then learn to outsource your weaknesses. Learn to, as the old business advice, hire to your weakness.
Yep.
And you got to think of this, and this is a mindset thing, but people sometimes walk into entrepreneurship with a employee mindset, and you can't have that. You got to go in as, I am the business owner now. Okay. And as the business owner, here are the skill sets and talents I have. Here's the ones I don't. So in my business, as the business owner, I'm going to hire what I don't have the capacity to do myself.
Yeah.
So if there's things, I'm not the greatest salesman. So what did I do? I created a business and product that incentivized salespeople to get involved. I'm not the best one-on-one coach of all. There's a lot of people better than me. So what did I do? As a business owner mindset, I outsource.
Yep.
How can I incentivize people to do coaching for me? So you got to take that mindset. Anybody, with the exception of, some sort of, handicap or situation like that, but most people that have basic cognitive functions and capacities to do physically and emotionally and physically can find a way and a place to be able to take control of their career in some level. And so I want everybody to feel encouraged that there's things that you can do, even if you feel intimidated by some of this technology. You don't have to be. So I like that, Laurie. Good stuff.
Put it well. All right, second question here. I work in the senior market offering services with their estate planning and insurance. Most of my clients aren't going to be online. Can your tools help me?
Oh, absolutely. Because some of our tools, even though you're using them online, your prospective clients out there in the field aren't going to be online. For instance, the thing I love using is that bulk texter to do cold marketing. And I'm working with a client right now where they send out mass text to 65 and older in a certain region. And it just says, hey, I need to talk to you about fill in the blank, click here. And when they click there, it's got a little short video that says the reason I reached out is because blah, blah, blah. I'd like to set up an appointment with you because I can save you, I think, on blah, blah, blah here. And then a little form right there that they fill out, and then it's automatically scheduled. So that's not your clients that are perusing the internet, Googling things and finding a podcast or a blog or on social media, maybe, because there's a lot of people in the senior market that don't, use these tools like some others do. And so, but you can they do have a cell phone, most of them do. And if you don't want to use text, you can use voicemail drop, but that's a way that you can get into that market.
Cool. Third question. How long has Terry been doing this?
About a week. About a week.
About a month.
About a month and a half.
I don't know. I just found this business last weekend. So.
Let's see. I've been employed by TW3 for 6 years.
Yeah,
something like that. And it was in business for like 6 years.
6-7 years before that.
Before that.
So yeah, we started.
Do the math. At least 10.
For me and Terry go way back. I know him back in. Shoot, 2003, really. That's sort of where I got started.
When could you be any more hick sounding?
South Carolina represent.
No, in all seriousness, this particular business was started in 2009. July 1 of 2009 is when TerryWilson3.com launched. So every 4th of July, we celebrate our birthday. And I love the fact that we get a birthday around the July 4th holiday because it's apropos, because freedom, independence, and those kinds of things. And I consider myself a bit of a patriot, so I like that. As you can see, I keep a flag right behind me, with the baseball, American baseball.
Above the flag.
Above the flag. Sitting on top of the flag is baseball.
Interpret that how you will.
Hush now. Don't start a controversy. It's not there.
Let's read into things that aren't there.
He elevated Chipper Jones over in America. But anyway, so yeah, it's been, we've been doing this for going on 13 years. I've been an entrepreneur, since kid in high school, really. I started selling pots and pans door to door. I've only had 2 quote unquote real jobs where I actually worked for other people. So
and you didn't last long.
And I'm a terrible one. I wouldn't hire me. I don't know why anybody else would. I got a bad attitude. I'm just telling you. Can't tell me anything. Think you know it all. So anyway, it's good stuff. Was that the last question?
We had one more question. I want to have Terry as my mentor and coach. Is that possible?
Why? That's the first question I would ask.
Yeah, let's retort this question with another question. This is politics.
It's politics.
I raise your question.
I raise your question with another question. I did start another platform called coachingwithtw3.com. If you are an audio member over there, and it's only $5 a month, there are opportunities to do one-on-one coaching. So most of the stuff, I do offer some, not a lot, but if someone asks, I'm going to answer whatever question they have. So if it's a business question, I'm going to answer it. But that side of there gives me a little more freedom to do mindset coaching, spiritual coaching, interpersonal relationship type things and all of that. That's away from business. I don't feel as tied to just being in business over on that side. But if someone asks me a business question, I'm going to answer it. But if you want to do one-on-one, of course, if you become an elite member, if the coaching request is in the context of business, the best thing to do is become an elite member here at TW3, and then you get the best of both worlds. You get a one-on-one coach of someone that's a member, certified and credentialed here. You get to come to the weekly mastermind groups, and then if you want to do the other, you can as well. But that's the best path to getting that. So.
And here's the truth: Laurie's a much better coach.
That is the truth.
That's just the truth.
That is the truth.
If you're going to want to go with Laurie over.
Send them over.
Send them over. Red Rover. Send them on over.
That was the last of our questions. Just
all right. Well, Laurie, thank you for being on tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You did a great job with that coaching and training tonight.
Thank you. I hope everyone got some sort of jewel from that.
I'm sure they did. And your radio program at tw3radio.com is every Tuesday at 8. And I think we're going to be starting that up maybe in March once we dry out. Is that the plans?
Yes. Sounds good.
She had to think about it. She's like,
well, she was going to do some this month, but with all the cold weather and the power going off, it's just sort of disrupted some plans that we've had. So life happens. And that's one of the beautiful things about working for yourself and working from home and having the freedom is you can bob and weave around some of this sometimes. So I appreciate you so much. And Laurie is a special jewel here. And did we mention, we've talked about how you got your nickname before on the public podcast, haven't we?
We have, but it's so funny. It might be worth repeating.
Well, please tell the folks because they need to understand, why are you called Miss Spelling Bee?
Yep. So, well, first of all, you got to know my father was an educator, and so I was raised on the King's English, and even as an adult, he would always, like, if I used improper English, he would correct it. So I just kind of always had that mindset. So I was at the 2019 Worthmore Conference, and I'm a front row sitter. I sit in the front row at church, in a class, in a business meeting. So I'm sitting in the front row, and Terry was doing his keynote and was using a PowerPoint. And on the PowerPoint, he had used the word intelligent.
Which I obviously had no business using that.
Except he had misspelled the word intelligent, and I thought that was kind of ironic and
it is
funny, and so I thought it would be great. Now, I didn't really even know Terry at the time, but here's me in my big mouth saying, hey, you misspelled the word intelligent. Isn't that kind of funny? And the room just burst out in laughter, and actually it was pretty funny, and Terry took it pretty well, so.
Oh, I loved it.
He knows his lane.
So,
he can't spell.
I stay in my lane. I refuse to let anybody think more highly of me than they ought.
One of these days, we're going to read this script word for word. We'll expose
So from that day forward, I've been known as misspelling.
That's right.
And I continue to, I just can't help myself. I continue to correct my spelling because he misspells all kinds of stuff everywhere, all the time.
He does. I think
we still love him.
We do. I think really what it is, it's not that he doesn't have the brain capacity to spell it correctly or look it up, because there's a lot of words that I don't know, but I'm just not going to send it out. What he's doing is he's like got priorities, and I think with the way he was raised, spelling wasn't ever like a top priority. The priority was the message you're trying to communicate. You know, he's used to speaking it, so what does it matter if he spells funny with 4 N's, or if he, you know.
Yeah, Miss Spelling Bee, if you saw our show notes here, it can get worse.
It can.
I think people that write in hieroglyphics would have a.
Isn't there like spell check though, or in your?
Nah, it takes too much time. Well, Laurie, thank you for being on tonight.
Thanks, Terry.
All right, guys, we'll see you. We won't be here next week. We are off somehow. Reagan found some poor girl that
I duped her.
Talked her into marry.
There's too much money invested now. You can't back out.
So we're off the rest of the week enjoying the new addition to the Wilson family. We're so glad to have her. Miss Alicia from Atlanta is going to be a Wilson this time next week. And so we'll be off Monday of next week. We'll be off Wednesday of next week. No mastermind this week, so we're taking about a week and a half off. So appreciate you guys giving it to us, and we look forward to catching back up with you the second Monday of March, and then after that podcast, we'll resume regular Elite Mastermind trainings. Until next time, we will see you later.
Thank you for listening to TerryWilson3.com today. If you've decided you are worth more, then go to TerryWilson3.com now and get a free digital sample copy of the book. You are worth more. Listen, no one's going to give you what you're worth but you. So stop putting off and get started earning, enjoying, and experiencing what you are worth today. Go to TerryWilson3.com now to start your journey today. That's TerryWilson3.com.